Ìgbéde lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o. Àwa gangan ni bàbá. Koiki Media. Koiki Media. Koiki Media. Ìgbéde wọn lọ sẹ́tì ọjọ́ sẹ́. They never sabi wetin we carry for her. But they move closer before they go sabi. I said they never know wetin we carry for body. But they move closer before they go sabi. Ọ̀gbìn lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ ni ń lóró lọ́jọ́. Ẹyẹ tó lórí kojú bí àdó ọ̀pọ̀ ìjìnlẹ̀. Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa. Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa. Ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè gbójú lúwàgà. Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wá. Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe kiri. Ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀. Ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé. Ilẹ̀ ìlérí àwa lè gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa. Ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé. Ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀. Àwa ni mọ̀lẹ́ tí yóò tàn káàkiri. Ọmọ Odùduwà ti wá. Koiki Media, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ. Ètò tó pọ̀jù ògo tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní. Kásá, ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wa kájí kú káyé jẹ. Ètò tó pọ̀jù ògo tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní. À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń kásá lárugẹ. Ètò tó pọ̀jù ògo tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní. News and sports, ẹ máa rí gbọ́. Ètò tó pọ̀jù ògo tí wọ́n mọ̀ ní. Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. Koiki Media, ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájú mọ̀ mi. Máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ. Ọmọ Yorùbá ni ẹ, ọmọ Yorùbá tata. À ń jádùn rẹ̀, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi. Ṣé ìlú ọmọ fìdí bọ̀ tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o? Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé mádémádé. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ gbàjọ́jì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ. Àjòjì tó bá wọ bẹ̀ á bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ẹbọra. Ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó òyìnbó tó dé. Ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o, owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o. Koiki Media, sáwa ní bàbá. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Àdáńtọ́, àtúnpèrè gidi. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Àtúnjà fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa, fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Ọmọ Oòduà ni wá o, tọkàntọkàn. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Ikú tó ṣe bí lébi òsì, àdìmú bàbá yìí. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. We bring you one closer to your doorstep. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Afẹ́fẹ́ tó fẹ́ òòdùn kan di oko lára ni. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Àgbèrè gèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́, àwa ní bàbá o. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà ni wá o. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Odùduwà lágbèdá ní òtítọ́ lágbèdá ní. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Àti sọ̀dálẹ̀, àti sódìkẹta. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Àgùntàn, àgùnpẹ̀rẹ̀ gèdè. Koiki Media, àwọn ní bàbá. Koiki Media, we bring you one closer to your doorstep. Àwọn ní bàbá. Koiki Media is around to give us the test. Is around to give us the test. Ladies and gentlemen, ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹgbẹ́ tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú.
Moki Wugwa, I say good evening and welcome to the Sunday broadcast. It's been a long day with the Koiki Media. We've been at the very beautiful event in Abeokuta, and this is the reason why you gotta have to just support the media. Shout out to Sister Buki. I can cite you there. We're gonna make it a very interactive this evening, but as we're still setting up the last platform, get your seat, get a coffee, get a tea, get a whiskey, get a Guinness, and let's talk about self-determination versus Nigeria. Why the Yoruba people and the Biafra must now start talking, when it comes to, the exit of Nigeria, because at the end of the day, it seems that the Nigeria of our dream has finally failed each and every one of us. Shout out to the PM of the government in exile of the Biafra, and going to make it very interactive. So it's going to be a call-in show. We're going to be interacting. So make sure you have those questions. Atairu Jaga said we should restructure Nigeria. Should we talk about restructuring? Should we talk about Tinubu government? Should we start talking about 2027? What is the game plan of the politicians? What are they thinking? What do they want? Bear with us. I'll be bringing everybody in. We just have to set up the last platform. And as usual, let us appreciate Igbowo by listening to this.
Ọjọ́ òní ọjọ́ tó lápẹ̀rẹ̀ gidi gan-an ni fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá dàda. Orí ni àwọn adéyàmá ọba ti pọ̀ tá ìbá yọ ọ́. Wọ́n ní alákòórí ọmọ ti lọ. Wò ó, èyí tí wọ́n rò yí ẹ̀ tó lówó ọba ńlọ púpọ̀ sẹ́. Sáńdì ọmọ adéyàmá Ìgbòho ṣàṣẹ́bẹ̀ lọ wà. Ọ̀gá máa dúpẹ́ Olódùmarè ọba òkúri. Tó ọba ti tàbí ìwòrè pọ́jọ́ òní ó tó pé tó kí lọ fẹ́ wá láàrin àwọn ọmọ adarí mú gan. Tàbí tó bá ti dàbí kí ọmọ láàrin ìgbẹ́ kí lọ máa ṣẹ̀dá òfin ìró ọjọ́ máa dúpọ́ lọ́wọ́ alágbẹ̀dẹ àyànmọ́ ọba tó fi ọ́ dára tó dùn ọmọ adéyẹmọ ò ìwọ náà kọ́ Olódùmarè ọba ní kí ọ lárugẹ. Sunday o jáwọ́ Sunday ọmọdé yẹ kù ó ti di bí àná yìí yé ẹjẹ ọmọdé mú ewé kókò tó bá lè bí ọmọ bẹ́ẹ̀ tó bá fẹ́ fọyà kó máa fọyà gbèrègbèrè sàǹgbà ọ̀rọ̀ máa fọ́ọ̀kù ẹni bá wọ bẹ́ ọmọdé yẹ wọ́n ti di bí àná yìí káṣẹ o ọmọdé yẹ wọ́n Ìgbòho ṣá yé ó ní ìgbà pé ọmọ Yorùbá àtàtà ọmọ ọkọ ní ọ̀hún ṣéun bẹ́ẹ̀ lọmọ ọgbọ́n ṣe ìwọ lọ́pàá Gàmbàrí nípa ìsìn Sunday ọmọdé yẹ mọ ọ̀pá Gàmbàrí nípa ìsìn ọ̀pá Sunday Igboho ṣá ọgbẹ́dà bàbá rẹ lọ òròlù ọmọ kẹlá ọlẹ́nilé mo sùn lẹ́ẹ̀kan ọmọ ajá tẹ̀yẹ̀ jẹ́ nígbà bàbá rẹ mo dé bọ́dà àárín òde ọwọ́ di méjì bá rẹ̀ ta àwọn ọmọdé méjì bá rẹ̀ jì àgàdà yìí ó di méjì bá rẹ̀ gbẹ̀dínlógún ó kan ilà àárọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ ní gbogbo ilé ìwọ àgàdà nínú bí àwọn rẹ̀ ọmọ gbẹ́tọ̀ olóko ilé ń sowó àkọ́níṣẹ́ olóko ilé ń sìn ìgbàlẹ̀kẹ́ ọmọ adéyẹmọ Sunday Igboho sàmà fún ogun ní nánilógún ogun ló ní ilé àárọ̀ ogun ni wọ́n fi jagun dẹ́gbọ́n jẹ́ bó gùn ọ̀yẹ́ ẹjẹ́ nínú àwọn ológun ọ̀nà Sunday Adéyẹmọ Ìgbòho ṣà ló ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá gbòmìnira dandan ni máa wá gbọ́ o àṣẹ ìlànà Olódùmarè ni ọmọ ìlú ọmọ Adéyẹmọ o dákun mọ́rù làwọn oníṣẹ́ ẹbí ẹ̀tọ́ kálukú mọ̀ fi dùn wọ́n orí kálukú ló gbé ọdẹ́kọ̀ tó dùn wọ́n máa gbọ́ o gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tàtà ń tẹ́wá lóye ẹja fọwọ́pọ̀ ká gbé ẹni tó lọ́wọ́ fi ṣe ká gbé lárugẹ gidi ni ẹni méjì wọ̀ wọn ò dùn ẹjọ́ òrodò lọ sí ibà méjì kó o ẹni tó lọ́wọ́ fi ṣẹ́rán ọgẹ́tọ̀ sí ẹni tó fi ara wọn Sunday ọmọ Adéyẹmọ ìpínlẹ̀ tiwa akọni jagunjagun ọkùnrin tààrà gbọdọ̀kẹ́lẹ́ ọmọ Adéyẹmọ wọn máa gbọ́n fẹ́ sàgbàkà fún wọn ni ẹni tó bá ní kó òkú ní kékeré kó máa fọwọ́ àwọn síra wọn wọ́n ní kàkọ́ máa sọ rẹ̀ kókò dànù ìmọ̀jọ́ ayé ó yẹ pé protect máa gbọ́ àwọn bàbá rẹ tó ti wà nínú gbé ìdájọ́ wọn máa fọwọ́ tì ọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ ni àwọn alágbára jagun tí wọ́n ní jagun ṣáájú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá wọ́n máa fi ọ́ tì ọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ ni Oòduà Ọlọ́fin ọba Àtàlà Báṣọ̀run Àjàká Àjàngẹ̀tìrẹ̀lẹ̀ ẹ̀fọ́fọ̀fẹ́rí nánàfọ́kúyá òun lẹ̀ lẹ́rú ọmọdé kò ní ìjọba agorílá ọmọdé kò ní alùpùpù àbá àbùkù ògèdè ìgbé ẹgbẹ́gbùngbùrù olè jẹ́sà Ṣàngó. Máa gbọ́dọ̀ sọ́kùn ọmọdé yẹn mọ́ ń bọ́ Ṣàngó tí mọ́ọ̀gùn làyà wáyé náà ọmọdé yẹn mọ́ Ìgbòho Ṣàngó tí gbẹ̀tùgbẹ̀tù tiẹ̀ ṣe ọ̀gbárùkọ lárúkọ lọ́nù gbọ́dọ̀ rè jó ògùn làyà ọ̀sẹ̀ pààyàn rí kẹ́ni máa ń de bàbá rẹ lọ òrùka tàbí gbàgbà kẹ́ni máa ń de bàbá rẹ lọ alárúgbó parúgbó Sunday ọmọdé yẹn mọ́ ní oṣù olùkọ́ ní gbangba Sunday ọmọdé yẹn mọ́ wọ́n ti di gbogbo ọdún wọ́n ti wà lókè ẹ̀ ní bá ní ọjà lọ́kọ́ máa kú ni máa gbọ́ sórí má bẹ̀rù ọ̀tẹ̀ mọ́ òòrí ní gbogbo fùrùfùrù labalábá tí wọ́n ń dìbò lẹ́kùn Sunday ọmọdé yẹn mọ́ Ìgbòho sà òòrí ni wọ́n ti ń wo sọ àkísà máa gbọ́ yẹ gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá àtàtàtàbá lóye àkọ́dá ayé ọgbọ́n ọmọ Adéyẹmọ ní ẹja àfọwọ́tì àti yìí débi tó lápẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹ̀dá àfọ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ èmi tún ẹ̀wọ̀ òdùnmí kò lè gbé wàdé kankan pa àkọ́dá ayé ọgbọ́n ẹja àpapọ̀ ká bí ẹni tó ń wọ́n fi sẹ́yìn lárugẹ ni ẹ máa bá oní bọ́ ní ẹsẹ̀ wọn afárá òní ni igi igbó sórí kò wọ́n dìgbẹ́ ẹ̀rí ni àwọn àgbàlagbà wọ́n ní bí orí bá dúró tán inú déyìn ọ̀tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀ gan ni sẹ́kùdì ọmọ Adéyẹmọ yé máa bá òótọ́ òní ọjọ́ burúkú tó lápẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tí wọ́n ṣerú ẹ̀ wọn ò lè mú jẹ́ ẹ̀ má ṣe pé ṣùgbọ́n nu rẹ̀ gbogbo tó ọba tó pátápátá bọ̀ ìmọ̀lẹ̀ thank you àrò ọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ gbogbo tó ọba ti àrò ọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ àwọn tó mú kọ́tò ò ná wáyé má ṣe pé o ṣùgbọ́n má jẹnu rẹ̀ ó gbófo gbogbo tó ọba pátápátá àrò ní ọmọ ọ̀rọ̀ mọ́ wọ́n máa fèkì ṣe lọ́lé wọ́n máa fèyí sí lọ́wọ́ lé wa kì í ṣe é mọ̀ wọ́n lè dín lẹ́rìí wípé ìtàlọ́kùnrin ìwòsàn lápẹ̀rẹ̀ lágbájá ní tàmẹ̀dún ni ìmọ̀lẹ́ akéwìrì ọmọ wọn ló gbọmọ̀ sọ àkílété mo bólúwa mi dúpẹ́ mọ́ kẹrù àgbà. sọ̀yà àtúmúyà rẹ̀ tí ò lọ́rọ̀ ọgbọ́n á fi ṣẹ̀rù wálé wàrà mùjẹ́ ọmọ onílé ọ̀la àwọn àjòjì tó ń ṣe ségesège tọ́láwọn ò ní bomi kó sí mu wọ́n láwọn ò ní bomi sọ̀yà wẹ́sẹ̀ ìgbà lójú kò fi rí ń kọ́ gbogbo wọn náà sáré bomi kó sí mu wọ́n sì bomi sọ̀yà wẹ́sẹ̀ ọmọ abẹ́rẹ́ mẹ́ta òde ayé ọ̀kan ṣẹ́ ọ̀kan tẹ̀ ọ̀kan tó kù ní gbogbo ayé tí ránṣọ kiri gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá Sunday Igboho onírèlẹ̀ láéláé torí àgbà lásán nìkan ń dá òkúta ò ṣe pé fún wọn o ìmọ̀ràn lásán ni ti balùwẹ̀ kò pọ́sibú kó dòdò láyé ń bí ogun díẹ̀ títọ́ domi láéláé tó ilé domi Sunday Igboho arógun má ti bí tó ń jà fẹ́tọ̀ Yorùbá ní tilé tó kó.
And a very good evening once again. Let me allow Sister Bouquet to join just as we go into the conversation. Good evening and happy Sunday. It's going to be a more like an interactive self-determination, restructure, regional government, election 2027. A lot of discussion as many Nigerians seems to be divided. Even the military are now saying that Simon Ekpa is being sponsored by the international countries. I don't know which countries they're talking about. So what is our take? I read Kayode Mola article. We see if we can touch on that. A very powerful article. A lot has been said in that article. Should we declare a Yoruba nation? And if we declare it, what is going to be, the consequence of it? And what is the way out? Many people have said, it's now seems that, it's been a lot of talking and talking. What is going to be the final exit out of Nigeria? Many discussion, many fora. Do we get Yoruba nation inside a Zoom meeting? Do we get the Yoruba nation by making sure that our people are well aware of the movement? The transistor radio is currently in Nigeria, where it is now being sold at 35,000 naira. What that does is that you will be able to listen to a live transmission of at least 1 hour every Saturday and 1 hour on a Sunday. We've got to be very, very specific on that. Maybe in the future, we might be able to get a FM, frequency, and you that have that radio will automatically be able to listen to it as well on that radio. The difference between FM and shortwave is that the government will not be able to stop these satellite transmission. But in the future, we might eventually also have what we call the FM frequency. So how do we get our people to start talking about Yoruba nation? Do we just do it on the social media? Or do we go back on the street and start this full campaign again, as we started some few years ago? What is your take on all these? It is now coming up to the end of the year. It is a movement. We don't expect it to happen overnight. Do we start taking the real action and leave all the talkings alone? By now, we have not been distributing flyers. We've not been distributing leaflets, in our local language. We've not been distributing sticker. We've not been doing as much, but we have been saying that we want Yoruba nation. So as I welcome you into the Sunday broadcast, I know that I have, a Zoom meeting. It's just, again, a Zoom meeting. We always have so many Zoom meetings. Sometimes we spend 4 hours in the Zoom meeting. What is the actual way that you think that the Yoruba nation should go into as we end the 2023 and preparing for 2024? Let me say this clearly. The politicians are already preparing for 2027. They are already strategizing. They're preparing whatever is going to make them convince our people again that they should vote. Do we sit and allow the same politicians that have kept Nigeria in the abject poverty? As we speak to you today, the percentage keeps growing. 28.8% is the inflation. Many people that have money are becoming very poor. Those that doesn't have are becoming even more poorer. Is it just about the Fulani attacking us? Is it just about the economy? What is the reason why we want Yoruba nation? What is self-determination? If somebody asks you now, why do you want Yoruba nation? How do you defend that? What do you say to somebody? If anybody, Toba Biwani simply, kill the reason that she fake kúrò nínú Nigeria. Can you give them that reason in less than 30 seconds without mixing words? Do you start saying that it's because it's Fulani is attacking us? Or do we talk about our real identity? What are we fighting for? What is the end game of this fight? So, Sister Buki, I know you're the one in the Yoruba nation. We also have those that are probably saying that they want Yoruba nation as well, but we must allow Bola Tinubu, to give us the leverage. My question is, do you think that President Bola Tinubu can give us the leverage? So let me allow Sister Buki to unmute. We open the phone line as well, and then it will be also interactive. And I want us to be very, very factual. We have been talking for 4 years. I don't think we've done enough, but I think as we go into 2023, what is the strategy? What should we start talking about? Once again, Mr. Day Williams says, in 2 seconds, I want to rule my own destiny. Thank you so much. Doctor says, our out people are striving in Nigeria. We want to be able to govern our own people and manage our own resources and secure our space. Everybody must be able to say under 30 seconds, being about being, why do you want Yoruba nation? There's nothing about mixing the words. Sister Buki, you're live with me. Let's start with you this evening. And I say, welcome to every one of us. Please invite many people. Invite the Biafra, invite the Hausa, invite the APC, invite the PDP. Let us talk tonight. What do we want?
Okay.
Sister Buki, you have the 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, I'm going to stop you. Go ahead without any interruption.
All right. Okay. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, wherever you are. I would say the main reason for us, asking for the self-determination and sovereignty of Yoruba land is our identity. To save our identity, to save our language, it's basically just our self-preservation. The more we remain within that construct called One Nigeria, the more we are endangering ourselves in terms of losing the main essence of being Yorubas. Because if you can recall, we were forcefully joined into that space. We didn't ask for it. So if we are asking for this sovereignty, it's it should be under self-preservation and control of our resources. That's what I believe. Now, in terms of, is the campaign going down? I would say yes. These are the reasons I would say yes. Because we haven't structured this campaign properly. We haven't structured it in terms of short-term, medium and long-term goals. It's not been structured. And also we have a lot of our Yorubas that are still calling for One Nigeria. So it's very, very scattered at the moment. And also the Tinubu presidency is sort of confusing Yorubas, because some Yorubas believe that the Tinubu presidency would actually aid our self-determination or our sovereignty. So you can see that we are in a slightly confused state. Note that since Tinubu has taken power, even in the UK, we've not done any of our rallies. Now, the campaign should be going back to back. We know that inside the space called One Nigeria, the construct called One Nigeria, there is no freedom of speech. There's no freedom to campaign, because if you go out and you try and do any form of outdoor rally, what you get is endangering your life, because they come out with the tear gas, they come out with the hot water, and they come out with the guns. So where we should be highlighting the outdoor rallies is in our diaspora locations. This is where the power of, speech and, vocal activity should be the loudest. And it should resonate inside the construct of Nigeria. So this is my take on it. We need to go back to the drawing board, put down our short-term, medium and long-term plans. Which one do we prioritize? Do we prioritize security? Do we prioritize the campaign? Do we prioritize the feeding of our people that are hungry? You know, these are the things that we need to list and take up as projects. But so far, that's not been done. And I think that is why we have not been able to successfully, you know, gain ground in terms of our campaign for our sovereignty. With that, I yield the mic.
Thank you so much. Ebu Bey, thank you so much. If you're Biafra, you can also join into the conversation. Let's hear your view as well. If you're Hausa, I want to hear your view. If you're APC, I want to get your view. If you're also a full nationalist like myself, that want the right to self-determination. The question we should ask tonight again is, we all want the exit out of Nigeria, but not everybody wants it. Sister Buki talked about a few things there. She talked about that. What should we prioritize? Should we declare Yoruba nation and unable to curtail it and hold on to it? Should we leave it to more time and allow Tinubu to continue running his own government while we do nothing? Should we call for rallies, or should we hold those rallies in Europe and avoid having those rallies in Nigeria? Where should we actually be talking about Yoruba nation? Is it outside Nigeria, or we should be focusing more inside the Yoruba territory known as the southwest part of Nigeria? Who should be taking the full responsibility, as this movement is now getting into a very push of where people are now saying that it seems that Tinubu is there, nothing is happening. We've had a lot of meetings. Meeting is still going on. As I speak to you tonight, meetings is still being held across. Well, let's talk about the most important aspect of the movement. Well, it was a little bit of delay, but it eventually came true. Why are we having delays, and why must we not make sure that the delay does not have a big impact on the progress of this movement? Many people are doing different things. We've tried to bring everybody together, and that is the reason why the YSDM was formed in the first place. The question then is, what should be our take? We can't deal with security because we don't have the government in place right now. And this is just to respond back to Sister Buki there. If you're talking about security, that is the security that needs to be something by our governors. We have governors that have security budget. We have governors that still have responsibility against our people. Should we push our people against the governors so that these governors can take hold of the security while we focus on the next stage? Should we call out and say to our people that in the new year, we will all be out there and then demanding from our representatives? Because most time people say that, why are you not taking the movement to your representatives? We must take those representatives and hold them accountable for the reason why they are not listening to us. So many questions have been asked. Some have even said that the self-determination is different from Yoruba nation. So I'm trying to figure out, we talked about that at the beginning of the early hours of this morning. But we can't continue to be talking without putting the action in place. Well, we will not probably also compare ourselves with the movement of the Biafra, but we can learn maybe one or two things from them. Doesn't mean that we have to take what they are doing. But you can see that it seems that the government is not concerned about the Yoruba movement, but they are worried about the Biafra movement, because the question all the time is, who is sponsoring Simon Ekpa? So all these are questions. What about those that says that we should not divide Nigeria? But it seems that even those that doesn't want Nigeria to be divided, they are not too sure what they want. Some blame the leadership, that the leadership is the reason why we don't have good governance. If somebody asks you in 30 seconds, why do you want Nigeria to break? Mr. Alarepe, Israel, says that please let us start holding any rally in Yoruba land for now because our life is in danger in Nigeria. Good evening to you, African Parrot. Once again, the phone line that you can call in as well. It's an interactive. We try and see if we can get as many of you. Plus 44 74 044 05917. We can do analysis from today till tomorrow. When should we start applying the pressure on the present administration? And when we say pressure, does not literally mean anything more than the fact that to let the Bola Tinubu government know that the Yoruba people are serious and they're ready to go. Should we just stick inside our different conversation here, or should we start making the push and get that push to every local government and every province in Yoruba land, which is about 191? My question tonight is, can we do it? Many people have already said that, the movement itself does not have a solid ground. I disagree with them. But we can add more layers to the layers that we've already built. We've built a platform, we've built a movement. How do we then make that movement to get the message that we want? If anybody thinks that the European countries, the Eastern Europeans, the Western European, the Asia, the Chinese, the Americans, they are coming to help anybody, or the United Nations, nobody's coming to help us. But what they are telling us is that we have the right to self-determination. If we have the right, what should we do to apply that right? Are we going to do everything diplomacy? Are we going to negotiate? Are we going to make a push? What should we be doing? This is the question I'm asking everyone tonight. Once again, we can go on and on and on and talk about, the movement, but already the movement at some point got infiltrated. Those that probably wants to take advantage of it did so, and they are still making sure that they can distract as many people away from the movement. How do we propagate the Yoruba nation message to those at home so that nobody's thinking? If we can get to the point that no one is thinking about 2027 election again, we are almost there. We have maximum 7 years. Between now and 7 years to prove that we are ready to go. If we do nothing now and we allow Tinubu to continue and he actually complete his tenure, nobody knows what Tinubu has at the back side. But like I always say, we cannot sit back and rely on Tinubu saying that Tinubu will give us a country of our choice, knowing fully well that Tinubu is working under this political party and manifesto under the APC. Tinubu also have dealings with the North, and I don't see Tinubu making Yoruba people to go if the Yoruba people do not put the pressure on him. A lot of us, whether we like it or not, we've been seeing the movement of the Biafra. And it seems that one man is making headway with the Biafra movement, which is the government in exile. And the reason the government in exile has become known to the military is because the activities of the Biafrans is showing the government that they are not joking and they are going to take the bull by the horn. They are speaking the language that the government wants to hear. Some might say it's all propaganda, while some say the government is not taking it slightly with what is going on in the Southeast. We've read, we've listened, we've heard, both from the politicians, from the government, from the representatives. Let me give us a statistics that came out again, just like so many statistics are coming out, and I've seen it already, but I'm going to read it from what Simon Ekpa, the PM of the Biafran government in exile, posted 52 minutes ago. And this is coming from what Amnesty International said regarding Nigeria. When an Islamic State apologist is the head of the Amnesty in Nigeria, They report only the killing in the Muslim-dominated areas and ignore the worst genocide happening in the Biafra land that are Christian-dominated. You see how they roll? What is the amnesty saying? Amnesty says that under the former President Muhammadu Buhari, there was human rights violation, and those human rights violation literally means that mass slaughter of over 350 men and women and children. I'm coming to you, my caller. Please hold on there. Mass slaughter of over 350 men and women and children by the Nigerian military in Zaria between 12th and the 14th in 2015. What about those that have been killed in the southeast? What about those that have been killed in the southwest? Let's go straight to the next caller. I say good evening and welcome to the program. I can add 1 minute. Yeah, go ahead. Hello, caller.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. One thing I want us to know is there is no any leader in Nigeria that will give us freedom like that. There is no any leader. Without no pressure, no leader will give us. And who is to command the pressure is our own leader. It's painful to say it. I don't see why our leader will be in the public. That's just it. That's just the fact. We are not collecting Benin Republic as a country. We want Yoruba nation, and Yoruba is in Nigeria. I don't know why our leader should. If the whole country, if the whole Nigeria should arrest an unknown. Right, the Nepal died in prison and he came out. I don't see why the old leader of the nation who want to claim the sovereignty from Nigeria will be in the Republic. You see, we need awareness, and that all this your interview lecture is all awareness, which is good. Everybody is doing their awareness at their places where they are. But what is our leader? That's just it. Where is our leader? That's why all this thing is slow like this. Where is our leader? Igboho is not our leader. Igboho is just an individual, which will glorify what he has done and we want you to do more, and Igboho will do more. But where is the leader that has been given the responsibility? By now, I expect our leader to be the one going one-on-one to meet all the kids, one way or the other. It's not Bayomi Joke who will go and be meeting all the others. That post is not assigned to you, but this post is assigned to the leader. Simple. That's why I see there. Everybody is doing their own job. All the media, you are doing your job, but where is our leader? That's the question.
All right. Okay.
Where is our own leader?
All right.
It should be Nigeria.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for your input.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the last caller says, where is our leader? He says that Igboho is not the leader. It's just, one out of the many people that we glorify. But he also asks that why is the leader still in Benin Republic and not in Nigeria? I don't know whether everybody will agree with that or not. But again, the question Waris Dinodi says, where is our leadership on Yoruba land? Which is something that I think the last caller is asking. You can also have the program tonight. It's all about, looking and reviewing, because we've said that this month we'll be looking into almost everything that has been coming up from 2023 January. We are coming towards the end of the year. How do we, move these to the next stage? Which a lot of you, I'm sure when you sit in your own little comfort zone or when you are looking into the movement, the question is, Are we doing enough, or are we going to have to do more? Why not call in as well and let's hear your views, because all these views will then be passed on to all those that needs to know. Israel says they are in Republic of Benin for their own protection. Thank you so much for that. Plus 44 74 04405917 is the number, which is a WhatsApp. We all know the right to self-determination is just something. Thank you so much for those of you that have joined us. The right to self-determination is a right under the United Nations Charter. What then happened? How do we apply the right? We know there's a right under the international law because self-determination says, and I quote, that it is our fundamental right. My question is, how do we apply the right for every one of us that are ready for the right to that Yoruba nation? Should we take the right a little bit up, or should we reduce it? What is your take? We know that self-determination says that the right of the people, the right of the people, of a people to self-determination is just a cardinal principle. It's a cardinal principle in the modern international law. If this is something that is under the Charter of the United Nations, should we do something, or should we sit back and watch? What do you think? What is your own view? What is your own take? Even those that are in government are as much as confused because nobody now knows what is going to happen and what will be the end game. Nigerians and every one of us are waking up every day, and it seems that somebody is just waiting for one kind of push, and then everything will start falling apart. Who takes that push? The Biafra, the Yorubas, the Arewas, or just the average Nigerians that are tired of the country and they will react? All these are questions that many people wants to know. It is easy for us to continue, to come out. You go on this platform, you listen to them. You go on the next platform, you listen to them. Then the next platform, then the next platform. Then along the line, some are probably even distract as well, because by the time they don't have much to say, they will drag something else and talk about it. Self-determination. How do we tell President Bola Tinubu that the Yoruba people want out from Nigeria? How do we tell the governor of Lagos State that the Yoruba people want to exit Nigeria? How do we tell Seyi Makinde, Oyo State governor, that we want to opt out? How do we tell the Kwara State governor? How do we tell Kogi State governor, Osun State, Ondo State, Ekiti State? How do we tell them? Do we tell them by just sitting here on these different platforms and send message and they will listen and they'll probably just ignore because they know that we are probably just ranting? And knowing fully well that we are not ranting, we are serious, we want a country, but how do we tell them? Because while we say we wanted the country, they are also saying that there must be an election, and that is the reason why election went ahead this year in February. What do we do to stop the next election in Yoruba land? We all saw what happened in 2023. What lesson can we learn? What do we need to do differently? Because whether we do nothing or not, election will still go ahead again in 2027, and then our people that we are fighting on behalf will still be given, false hope. And this is why we are now saying that we have the first 3 years left of this government. Nobody knows Tinubu can lose the election, but I don't think he might, because he might eventually rig himself back anyway. But without talking about whether he rigged himself or not, do we do nothing until 2027, or should we start now? Someone says, Mr. Israel says, we need to continue to create the awareness, which is exactly what we are doing. And this is why the radio that have just been brought in might also add to the value of the awareness. How much more time do we need to continue to make sure that these awareness now must be scaled up? Waris Jinodu says, some know and the feeling the end game. It is the reason why they are positioning themselves overseas with the Yoruba looted wealth. What do we do as we go into 2024? Why not put the comment there? Or why not also call in and let's hear your view? Ijaya says, and I quote, we need our rally to come back to tell our public officers and the world that enough is enough and we want to go our separate ways. The Yoruba Nation movement, it says again, leaders cannot stay in Nigeria. They will get arrested. So the caller need critical thinking before asking a question like that. So what the caller that called earlier, Mr. TY, says that we should make sure that our leader is back in Nigeria and we can make sure he start the campaign from there. But someone disagreed that they might be arrested, and that will literally mean that, it will be a little bit difficult. 90Y says awareness needs to start by the next year. 2027 is just less than 3 years away. Mr. Building just says, I pray Nigeria to happen quickly to those that are holding us back. That might not happen as we might want it quickly. We might have to make sure that something happens, which is creating much more, reflection to them. If we are saying that,
can I interject you? Sorry, I know you're live on air. Is it okay if I interject you and bring some suggestions?
Yeah, go ahead. And I think I have somebody making a request. Let's bring that person in as well. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, like I said earlier, we need to go back to the drawing board. For me, I have always said, if we can work from outside in, the reason I'm saying this is because we are in our diaspora locations all over the world, we have more flexibility to make noise. So I think we need to first of all go back to the drawing board, put pen to paper and write down our short, medium and long-term plans. Short-term plans is we need to restructure the campaign, because without any media presence, we can't gain ground. And where we can get that media presence is in our diaspora locations. So depending on how we structure that campaign, that is how we can actually start to gain ground, and we can now start weakening them inside the construct called Nigeria. So it's just about good planning, good structure, strong structures actually, because so far we as Yorubas, we haven't actually structured this campaign. It doesn't have, it's like we're all over the place. Everyone's doing their bit. We need to come under one full umbrella.
Okay, let me come in there. Let me 1 minute, Sister Bookie. Sister Bookie, let me interject there, because we are both in the movement, and sometimes I'm working from the point of a journalist now, because when you say that there is no structure, we have the YSDM that has been set up, and that YSDM purpose was to bring all the units together, which everybody was underneath. The YSDM operated up to January, which we saw the rally that took place in Ojota. So that means there is a structure. I'm talking to you, Sister Bookie. We're just interacting now, because the word that we don't have a structure, to the ears of people might say there is no structure, but I'm sure you know that there is a structure. Maybe
there YSDM, there is a structure, but I think we need to go back to the drawing board to restructure it so that it works more.
So do you think that the YSDM, okay, let me put it this way. Do you think that the YSDM is doing the right thing at the present time, or is it so that they need to be rejiggled just like any other organization around the world?
It needs to be rejiggled so that we have more of a presence outside of the construct of Nigeria. Not that we shouldn't have the presence, but what I'm looking at is because we are in a very volatile location. Volatile in the sense that there's no respect for any form of human rights. But we are outside, where we actually have that strength. This is where we need to start working from outside inwards. Okay. I'm not saying in terms of any violence, no. I'm talking about just legal campaign along the international lines, peaceful campaigns. I mean, look at what happened with the Palestinians. They did a massive rally in the UK.
Okay. Let me. I'm gonna. Hold on, Sister
So
Buki.
why can't we do the same?
Sister Buki, I'm gonna cut you there, and the reason why is we all know that what led to the movement of the rallies that we've seen in London was because there was a huge force that kicked in on October 7, that led to what you're saying, and there was an attack back on the other side, and then this attack created, the kind of, visuals, because visuals are very powerful. I don't think anybody would have come out before that in those numbers. So do we say that, maybe we attack? I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, should we attack the government and then the government attack us back? The visuals will become around the world and maybe more people will come out on our behalf. As an example, one minute, Sister Buki.
Methodology where you can actually produce visuals. It doesn't have to be violent.
Okay, well, the question is, the kind of rally that you're seeing from those sides is not happening because it's because of the tension. People are saying certain things and they're reacting and they feel that, there's just unjust balance. Maybe the Biafrans, as we're seeing them right now, might lead us to that kind of what will become a global movement where more people will feel the pain, because right now it seems that everything is shielded, but by the time it escalates, maybe we might get something like that, and that might be part of the Yoruba nation that will support us as well. I'm going to come back again to you, Sister Buki. There's a lot of people that is already putting a lot of questions out there. Let's bring in okay, I thought I saw somebody that wanted to join us. Okay, maybe that person dropped out. Anyway, we go back to those that are asking questions. Tonight, it's all about the Yoruba Nation movement. The Biafrans are already out there. We know that because we can see it. We can feel it. The federal government of Nigeria can feel the Biafrans. Why are they not feeling us? It's because some say we've probably slept because Tinubu came to power. I will not totally agree with that. Maybe some people agree with that. That is fine. But one thing is, the reason why some are feeling that is because we are not out there proving ourselves like we were doing when Buhari was there. Buhari was there. We were out there in London, in America, and it seems everybody, maybe there's still cold winter, and we forget about the movement. Okay, looks like Sister Buki dropped out. She might come back in. Why not let us hear your views? And I'm going to be reading as many comments that is coming through because it's all about us tonight. Good evening to you, Mr. Richard Alaba. Good evening to those of you that have joined us. Mr. Sally Babatune, good evening to you and those of you on the TikTok as well. So let's pick on the comment coming very fast. They're coming very, very fast. Ilule says, Ad country, good evening, Koiki. Please, let's plan for a full rally before the March next year. So we have to plan 3 months, is what he's saying. Waris Zinaldo says, Yoruba Nation Awakening has reached and touched every geographical part of Yoruba land. There's no doubt. But how do we make sure it doesn't go away from their heart? Because our people will still end up and go and vote. We know that. Not that people are not going to vote, but can we stop them from voting in the new election that will be coming in 2027? Or should we just say, you know what, let us just leave it as it is? Evergreen says, why is there so long silent from Chief Sunday Igboho? Is a question being asked. Maybe somebody will be able to help us to answer that. So somebody says that, why is Igboho quiet? We're not hearing from Igboho anymore. Mrs. Grace Olushoto says, and I quote, good evening to you. I think it's just a normal greetings and everybody on board is settling in into the program. If you're also listening from the Biafra point, and if you're from Hausa, Arewa, and if you believe in one Nigeria, you can also come and tell us what you think. Many things is happening in Nigeria. Let's go back to what Atairu Jaga said, and I think I have a video clip that was sent to me where we can listen rather than me reading what he said. We read it at the early hours of this morning, but I think it would be nice if we can hear his voice. So let's hear his voice. Let's see, I think someone sent the actual video. Let's see if I can play that in a minute. So let's go on the, I don't own the copyright of this, but I'm sure we should be able to use it. It's from the Chinese television. So let's allow the advert to go through, and then we're gonna, talk about what Aitaru. Let's listen to him. This was what he said. He says, and I quote, Nigeria is a failing state. Atairu Jega, the former INEC chairman, is now calling for restructuring before 2027. The Yoruba, no, the Afenifere, or Heinze, even Baba Adebanjo, if Nigeria doesn't restructure, it will go in flames and all that. But eventually, nothing has gone in flames. Everything seems to be working, but the problem is, inflation is in the country. There's insecurity, there's instability. My question again is, there is just 3 years before 2027. What should be the plan of the Yorubas? I don't have all the full plan of the Biafrans, but we can see that there's a lot of activities going on from their side. Ilule say, Chief Sunday Igboho is quietly working background. He doesn't need to make as much noise as it was happening when he eventually became a target, but doesn't mean that he's not there, and I think that's an answer to your question, Evergreen. Put those questions out. Even if they're tough questions, we will try to answer. Even if your question doesn't line with what we are discussing here, don't worry. I will not be partial. I will read it out. And you can call in as well. Let's listen to Atairu Jega says, Nigeria is failing state, and if it doesn't get restructured, all these are talk. We saw that the same thing. They said restructure Nigeria before 2023. To be honest with you, Nigeria was not restructured. Election was done. Bola Tinubu rigged himself in. We know that. Eventually, life doesn't come to an end. Nigerians are still working, struggling. Let's listen to Atairu Jega.
But that's the call from former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Atairu Jega, to lead us in the nation. Professor Jega, who described Nigeria as a failing state, adds that power devolution to the subnationals has become critical for the nation to develop. Well, this formed part of his recommendations for safeguarding Nigeria's future at the maiden combined convocation lecture of the Bauchi State University, Gado, while slamming the political leadership for what he described as reckless spending and abuse of power. The former INEC boss lamented the high cost of running a presidential system of governance in the country, which he says has become defective.
To show how lack of these values, urban orientation, how bad governance, and how lack of good leadership actually is pushing Nigeria towards becoming a failed state. Yes, I have said I don't believe Nigeria is a failed state, but I think, and we need to realize that Nigeria is a failing state.
Okay. He says he doesn't believe that Nigeria is a failed state, but is a failing state. I think he's a confused man. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Why is the movement of the Biafra getting that traction? Is it because they've been in the game for probably, good time before us, ahead of us, or is it because they are doing certain things, that is attracting not just the government, but probably the international community? They are not talking because, trust me, America is monitoring what is going on in Nigeria, between Nigeria and Biafra. Probably they're monitoring our own as well. They have different committees set up on our behalf, whether for good or bad. 2027, how do we make sure that it will be the last time election will be held again in Nigeria, or election is not going to be held? It's two ways. We say that there will not be election in 2023. I sat here, I talked about it, I gave my own perspective. You all call in, you all make decision, every one of us make decision, but eventually certain things, do not materialize. The next point is, how do we make sure that as 2027 is approaching, we must make sure that nothing happens in the Southwest? Dr. Benjamin says, if Biafra revolution against Nigeria breaks out in the East and the South and spread to the West, do you think that the Yoruba will stay neutral or support Biafra or support Nigeria? I think that 50% of Yoruba would not support Biafra. I know that because I can feel the energy of what they are saying, not online alone, offline. But those of us that are determined that we are ready to go, we will give that support. Because the Yoruba is divided. Half of them are sticking to Nigeria, not because of anything, it's because they can still see Bola Tinubu being there. TJ Baba say, if we can do the same thing that the Igbos are doing, some Yorubas disagree with some of those views. They say that the Biafrans are doing things that are too much, that the Yorubas should not go through that path. The question then is, what do we do to make sure? Mr. Perry said, how do we kick out those Dagboru people out of the Yoruba Nation campaign? You will not be able to kick out anyone because they will tell you they also have the right, just like those conservative Yorubas that are out there, and they will say all sorts of things. We see them on the social media. So it is a very, very divided situation. But how do we take advantage of Bola Tinubu right there in the government while we can say enough is enough? Should we wait until Tinubu complete his tenure and then we come back and then we start talking when the next northerner comes in? That will be very, very difficult. This is a time, from my own end, that we should say enough is enough. But if we say that it is not enough yet, we will all be more in danger in years to come. 3 years from now, how do we plan the chart? What should we put in place? Some have said that we should go and set up some security outfit, blah, 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 different things they say. Some say no. Sister Buki disagrees, says we should push from the side, from outside. And I guess Sister Buki is probably concerned that we don't want to lose any of our people. Not that we've lost much, but the little that have died during the movement. Because when people say, hey, so many people have died during this movement, I totally disagree with that. We know the total numbers of people that have died, killed directly or indirectly by the government. At least 2 that were killed directly, and more that were Adogon and Alhaji Fatai. We lost one during the Ojota rally. We lost one in a motor accident. We lost one that died naturally. We lost one that died naturally. So when people say, many people have died, no, 28,000 Yoruba people died during Buhari's government in 8 years. So the question is, should we go ahead and start holding the government position and lock it up? Should we do things that will start making the government to react? Or should we continue to create the awareness? And because the reason why you're saying we should keep the awareness is to wake people up. But when we wake the people up, they will still react. So why not that some of us that are ready will react and allow the rest to follow? Or are they going to attack us back? Because we go to Lagos State now, not everybody is going to support the Yoruba Nation movement because Tinubu is there in power. We know what they will do. We saw it in the last 2 outings in Lagos State. I mean, that was even before Tinubu came to power. Now that Tinubu is there, Are we going to see the unity among every Yorubas to say, okay, now that Tinubu is there, let's all make a push? There is a lot, and we don't have the time. We must always wake up and remind ourselves that nobody wants you to go, and it is our responsibility to hold our politicians accountable. We can talk. If we're not putting the action to it, it will become just a talk show. This is not a talk show. This is real. Movement is real. Life will be lost. Things will be done that will not be comfortable for everyone. But if we do nothing now, it will backfire on every single one of us. And most importantly, how do we align with those other indigenous people and probably talk to them? I don't even know where Ninas is right now because I've not heard much from them, but I know that they were working quietly, especially those, within the south, or, Middle East or Middle Belt, somewhere around there. How do we now tell Afenifere that enough of this nonsense, or should we just accept that Afenifere is just going to continue to ask for restructure from Tinubu and they're never going to get it because Tinubu is not going to give them restructure? Let me bring Jaja God. Good evening and welcome to the program. And as we discuss this, it affects Biafrans, it affects the Yorubas or the Oduduwas, it affects every single one of us, and even those of you that probably disagree with the country to be divided. Good evening and unmute yourself and let's hear from you. You have the 5, 3, 4 minutes to go ahead.
Thank you so much, my brother Koiki Media. Thank you, everyone on the space. I salute you, my brother Archbishop, and everyone here. My brother Koiki Media, thank you for this program. And I want to say first the issues that people were raising and the questions that they were asking. The person that said that Sunday Igboho should come back and start a rally again, that is not going to be possible. Sunday Igboho is in exile, and he can be in exile and form the government in exile and sponsor the freedom of the Oduduwa nation. He mustn't be in the zoo. He mustn't be in this jungle to champion the cause of the Oduduwa people. And you are Koiki, you mustn't be in the country in this contraption to champion the cause. So anybody saying this is either the enemy of Oduduwa nation. Oduduwa must not be here. The people that are championing for this cause must not be here to do it. Everybody has seen how porous and how dangerous the country is, that this is an Islamic nation where they are kicking against anything that has to do with freedom of the people. And as such, we are going to use everything that is at our disposal to make sure that this country is on rest. That this, for those people that are saying, is there any other way we can do it without violence? If you're Islamic government, which Nigeria is, a jihadist government, which Nigeria is a terrorist government, which Nigeria is criminals everywhere, which Nigeria breeds. There's no other way for you to break off from those clutches if you are not violent. And that is what we have tried. We have tested everything, and the result that the only way to go is to take the bull by the horn. And that's what the Biafrans will keep on doing. And that is what I believe one day the Yoruba people, which is the Oduduwa people, will wake up and start doing something. But Sunday Igboho is not coming back to Nigeria. He can champion the cause of Oduduwa from where he is. So somebody that is suggesting that using it as whatever he wants to use it as is making fool of himself. Because Sunday Igboho is in exile and he can do whatever he wants to do under the law from exile. Thank you so much, Koiki Media, for the mic. And I want to say again, please, once you come on the squeeze, please allow our people, both Oduduwa people, there's a lot of Oduduwa people here, and once they know that they will be allowed to the mic on the space, that is when people will be turning up, because there have been multiple times they will come and they will not be able to speak at the end of the day. Thank you so much, my brother, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. And that is, one of our Biafra brothers there that have given his own view that Chief Sunday Igboho doesn't need to be in Nigeria presently, and it can also be outside and do the right to self-determination. When they say to us, and I use the word when they say to us, I mean United Nations. United Nations just say, yes, you have the right. But that right is entirely up to you how you want to get it. I mean, it's just a word, it's just a written resolution. We've talked about it so many times. You have the right. But how do we make sure that as people that wants that right, we apply that right and that right will be listened to us, most importantly, by the Yoruba politicians? How do we communicate with the Yoruba politicians and convince them about our right? Thank you so much, Jaja. Let me come again to Sister Buki that I've asked for the mic again. Go ahead.
Like I said earlier, you can see that Mr. Jaja has agreed with what I said. You cannot champion discourse inside a construct called One Nigeria. You need to champion the cause outside to work your way in. Because, as Mr. Jaja confirmed, the place is that construct is a very volatile place. They go in, you make any attempt to come out and protest for your rights.
You will need to mute yourself because of the background noise.
Oh, okay,
you
sorry.
You need to mute yourself as our sister is speaking.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that I have to mute my mic. So I didn't know that the host has to mute the mic as well. I didn't know that. Sorry. All right, go ahead.
All right. So basically, what happens is you cannot protest. You can't claim for your rights inside that construct called One Nigeria, because your rights are not protected. Your rights are not protected when you go to vote, because the voting structure is a total mess. They steal your ballot boxes. Every time you come out to vote, there's no assurance that when you leave your home, when you go out and vote, you're going to go back into your house, because it's life and death, it's war. So your rights by the ballot box has been stolen. Your right to protest has been stolen, because when you come out, you know that your rights has already been stolen by the ballot box. When you now start to come out and protest that, the standard of living inside the construct of Nigeria is not good for any form of human consumption. You come out and protest, it's in this order. First comes the tear gas. When the tear gas is not effective, then they bring out the hot water. When the hot water is not effective, the next thing is the bullet. So we know that in order to save life, you cannot protest inside that construct. The only way you have a voice is your strong diaspora population. They are the ones that will deal with external governments outside the construct, in line with international laws, peaceful international laws for self-determination. You have a voice, you have the ability to actually negotiate your way with other international governments, the UK government, the MPs, the international governments from the American Congress. We can lobby those from there. That is how we now start to build up our protest. Then we have the physical protest. Look at what happened with the Palestinians when they came out to protest. They came out in their numbers, and it was a peaceful protest in the UK. This is what we need to start doing. We need to start building with all these activist groups, international activist groups, outside of Nigeria. By the time we start building those numbers, you will see that now the Nigerian government will now be forced to reckon with us, because now they're seeing that the numbers are going up. But if we don't organize ourselves properly, if we do not, organize that campaign in a very structured manner, then we won't get the effect that we are looking for. What we are looking for is international recognition. We want to attract the international media, i.e. the CNN, the Al Jazeera's, and all these by the time we start getting that recognition and building up those bridges, you will see that the tone of this self-determination campaign that we are asking for is going to change. With that, I yield the mic.
All right, thank you so much, Sister Buki. There, well, the comment that I've actually come against you, Sister Buki, from Ijaya says that you're part of the Ominira group. I don't know whether you want to respond to that. That you also create division among us and the Yoruba Nation movement. I'll allow you to respond to that, along the line. He also says that Buki is part of the Ominira that created problems to the Yoruba Nation movement. He also went further to say Igboho is still mourning his mother and mother-in-law as well. These men have just lost two important people within a short time. So what do you want Igboho to do? It is not necessary that we do like the Igbos, because we are two different people, and the Yoruba Nation movement pattern is also effective. Our rally is working, and we should keep it up. Let's take some of the other messages that is filtering.
No, I have to make the correction there. I've never been part of the Ominira movement, never.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I was against that particular sector of the campaign.
Okay, then. Because
of the way in which the distribution of the petition was disseminated. Okay. So I was never ever part of that campaign. Right. I need to make that correction.
All right.
I have always been on the right side,
okay,
which is to structure a campaign that is going to work for us, and it has to be an international campaign and not one that works from outside. From inside out, but from outside.
Okay, let me, before I come to Jaja, Sister Buki, I mean, we saw that, what actually let people fall in love, I mean, to start with, was not just because Igbo was part of it at the beginning. We saw that, Professor, went to the UNPO, Unrepresented People Organization, which is what you said, let's use the platform out there. And if I play back, that, which I'm going to do right now, so that we can be able to get a feed of that. Bear with me, Jaja. Let's quickly filter that in, so that way it gives us exactly, what Professor did. It's a 1 minute 48 seconds. Let's listen to it together.
45th member of the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, leader of the Yoruba World Congress, Professor Banji Akintoye, says the membership represents a very important step in the collective quest of well-meaning Yoruba people to achieve the goal of dignity and self-determination.
It is my great pleasure and pride to inform you that the Yoruba Nation has been admitted to the membership of UNPO. UNPO means Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organization, with its headquarters in The Hague. The NPO expressed their gladness to welcome the Yoruba Nation as a new member of UNPO, and they are looking forward to working with us. It is important because it is a great stride, and it represents a very important step in our collective quest to achieve the goal of dignity in the country in which we live, and also to achieve the goal of self-determination for our nation. Our Yoruba nation now has a voice on the international stage via the machinery of the UNPO, which maintains a permanent presence before the United Nations and before other international agencies like the European Union, the African Union, the United States government, and the governments of various other countries across the world.
Which is what Sister Buki wants us to build on. Let me come to you, Jaja, and let's hear from you. Good evening to those of you. Good evening, Ashati Sheila Yoruba, and the rest of those of you that have joined us this evening. Go ahead, Jaja, sorry.
So, much, my brother. Everyone is also our brother. Thank you, Koiki Media. I just want to throw in something from what our sister said. You know, one thing these people have used to keep us down for a very long time is that recognition of a thing. They made this thing go into our head that when you're not being recognized by the UN, by all these powerful nations of the world, that maybe people will not listen to whatever you want to bring on the table that concerns your freedom. And by so doing, you willingly will your own willpower to another person to decide how you live your life and when you react to some certain things that you're not comfortable with. And that is what the Biafrans has been able to break that cordon, that we don't wait for any international body to recognize us, not Al Jazeera, not a BBC, not a CNN, not any of these powerful social media that is controlling the world. These people can never recognize you once you have been doing whatever they want you to do, in the name of your being peaceful, in the name of your being law-abiding, in the name of your being lawful this one and lawful that, those jargons. They will never listen to you. The only reason why people are talking about the Biafrans today is because of the actions that is on ground. Without those actions dealing with the terrorists that have come to kill your people, if you allow yourself to be Afghanistan, they will still come to you and tell you that you should find a way to live with the Islamic laws. That is what they are telling to the people that is in Afghanistan today. But when Afghanistan is being run over, they knew. They even equip the people that use the equipment that they supply them to run over Afghanistan. And today the women of Afghanistan that are not comfortable with Islam are forced to obey the laws of Islam. And they are saying that they are going to do something to make sure that the rights of the women are being protected in Afghanistan. But that is just a Jack and Bull story. Because if you cannot control the effect, if you cannot control the action, you will not control the effects or after effect of that action that is about to take place. So if you cannot control the action that is coming, which is Fulanization of Nigeria. What is coming to Nigeria is not even Islamization. If it's Islamization that is coming to Nigeria, you may be some persons that wants to be Islamized, apart from the Biafrans. We say that at least it will be like Dubai is an Islamic nation, and people are not being killed, and people are not being butchered on daily basis. They are living very fine and managing their destiny. But what is coming to you is Fulanization. That is what is coming. And as such, you must fight like a wounded lion for your country and your people not to be Fulanized. If you allow yourself to be Fulanized, that is the worst thing that will ever happen to any being that walk the face of this earth. So waiting for all these people to recognize is not the question here. What is the question is you yourself finding out who you are. And you will be the one to tell these people, this is who I am, and this is what I want. Everybody's going after his own interest. The people you just mentioned and all these big nations, they are going for their interest. And their interest is to make sure that you yourself, the Africans, are impoverished, for them to remain as a giant, as a big nation where you'll be running to for a greener pasture. When you're running away from a greener pasture just because you have bad brothers and sisters that find their way in the seat of power and choose to defend the interest of the enemy, rather defending your own interest. So we shouldn't be working for anybody to recognize us. Let's recognize ourselves. If those people want to recognize us in the future, what we are doing, bringing on the table, they need us, not that we need them. So if they want to recognize us, that is good. If they don't want to recognize us, we are human beings before their recognitions. Thank you so much, Koiki Media, and my sister that just spoke. God bless you so much.
Wow, very good output there. Good evening to my brother. Shout out to African Confidential. Shout out to Bishop Additional. I think somebody complained about you, Bishop Additional. I think I read a comment that you're always mixing us with Egyptian or something of such. I read a comment on the one of the feed. I don't know whether you're going to clarify that. Tonight is all about as we try to see. I'm going to bring you in, Archbishop. I've seen you. I actually brought you in, so bear with me just a few more seconds. many of us now that are preparing our mind, we're tired of Nigeria. We want recognition. We want the word government that cannot even make decision. I don't know whether some of you follow what is happening in the United Nations General Assembly, where they're using veto to counter veto. I mean, they cannot stop anything because literally United Nations, nobody even knows whether they're still useful or they are not. I will leave that for some of you to decide. But do you think that the United Nations and those countries underneath cares? One thing is, many countries will even be divided when there's more problem in Nigeria, because it will make them to start understanding that maybe it is the time that we let people go their separate ways. But if we are waiting for, the American government to intervene, maybe they might not, or maybe they might, I don't know. But what do we need to put on the table to get the message out? That is what we are discussing tonight. Many of what is happening in Nigeria today, even the military says, and I quote, and maybe Sister Buki, maybe we might get to that stage where the military, I want to bring that up quickly, from the PM Biafra, where military is now accusing him of being sponsored by countries outside Nigeria. Let's see if we can listen to that. This is what he says.
Expose all those ones doing those tests, especially people like Samaiba. He's sitting down there in comfort. Some countries are encouraging him to do what he's doing to Nigeria.
He says some countries are encouraging him. So maybe by the time we are fully kicked in, they might also say Igboho is being encouraged, or Babakito is being encouraged, or whoever is going to be the name they're going to pick on. We don't know which name they're going to pick on, but for now, they bracketed us as one body, which were under the leadership of Professor Banji Akintoye. Unmute your mic and let's hear from you. I'm going to stand up while you're speaking. I'll be back in just about a minute, but I'll probably pick along the line what you're saying. Aisha, go ahead. Let me hear from you first before I mute my mic here.
God bless you, Koiki Media. God bless you.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah. I am the Archbishop of the Most High God, and I want to thank everybody on this space. I see my brother King Jaja of Biafra. Something caught my attention. I was in Washington, D.C. protest with when we are protesting for the release of Mazi and Nnamdi Kanu. We protested along Yoruba Nation brethren. It was awesome, even though we had some referrals from the DOS, POS, whatever they are. But then I want to say something to our brothers, our Oduduwa brothers. Nigeria, or one Nigeria as it stands, does not obey laws. They have laws, but they don't obey laws. Fulani control government. The only language Fulani understand is I do, you do me, I do you. Violence. If our Oduduwa brethren can intensify their effort, rallies and protests cannot do anything. UN is dead already, dead and buried. I need to re-echo that. UN, United Nations, is dead and buried. If you are waiting for Al Jazeera to talk about Yoruba Nation, if you are waiting for CNN or BBC, you will wait till thy kingdom come. The only thing they will understand is water. As it is happening in the East, let Etishete or whatever, I hear that from my, is it Etishete or whatever, death, let it be on the Yoruba Oduduwa Nation side, so that it will be hot, the devil will be hot. Let me tell you this before I conclude, that the disintegration of the country called one Nigeria will save life. It will save life in Europe. It will save life in America. God bless Oduduwa Kingdom. God bless the Biafrans. I remain the Archbishop of the Most High God.
Thank you so much. And I picked a couple of what you said there. If we wait, we will wait forever. Those of you that want to call in as well, the line is still open as we continue to try to engage everyone, all Nigerians. Some say restructure, some say Tinubu is going to give us, what did they talk about? Regional government. While Tinubu continue to run a dead ship like Titanic, many are still having this hope that it's going to happen. +447404405917. My name is Olami Koiki, and this is Koiki Media Live. As we continue to also make sure that we lock the date and the time is coming up to 2100 hours here in London, 17th of 12, 2023. I'm trying to pick up, something that one of our brother wrote in an article that I read today, and I guess is somewhere in one of my phones. I'll see if I can retrieve it as quickly as I can. As we have been talking about Nigeria, definitely nobody knows when everything is going to go down. But the politicians are also making sure that Nigeria doesn't go down. So how do we, have these conversation both with the politicians in the east, the politicians in the south, because these politicians are all working. When people say, don't work with the Biafrans, and I laugh because when these politicians are in the Senate, they work together. They don't care whether they are Igbos, they are Hausa, they are Fulani, they work together against us. And this is something that we got to change the tactics as well. We got to work against them as well in one unity. Because when people say, no, we don't want to work with the Biafra because their own tactics is different from our own. But these, corrupt, buffoon politicians that have kept our people to live in this Islamic country that even David Cameron invited Nigeria under an Islamic country. I'm sure some of you say it's in their website. The question then is, what do we do to make sure that the same traction, there's a traction going on in Nigeria now, and that traction is on the Biafra alone. The Yorubas are not getting the traction is because maybe we are not doing what needs to be done. Maybe we're not projecting ourselves out there since Tinubu came to power, which a lot of people have said, even though I might say it is completely false. But we know that not all Yorubas want the kind of what we did during Buhari. They are trying to say, let us try not to do like Buhari, or let us, and I am getting worried because I said it a month ago, precisely in one of my broadcasts. It was a full broadcast. I was very serious, and I said, if Tinubu leaves government and the next Fulani man comes in, they will fight us and they will make sure that a lot of us are probably killed, and that will eventually lead to another civil war. We can stop it now by not just engaging Tinubu, by putting pressure on him and his government. Shout out to my sister Wura_Yoruba. We can be on the Twitter space from now till 2027, 2031. It will not break Nigeria. And I'm not joking. And I want to try and say, bear with me, those of you on the TikTok. I want to bring in what my brother says, Kayode Emola. It was a very powerful one. I hope I will find it in time because he said a lot of things in one of his articles. But I'm asking again, what do we do to make sure that we change the narratives? Changing the narratives is something that has to happen, between us and them. The politicians are now fully aware of campaign for people to break the minds of others. Probably leave that because I don't know where it is exactly right now. So the politicians are very smart. They're very, very smart individuals. What they are doing right now to our people is saying, don't worry, don't listen to Simon Ekpa, don't listen to Sunday Igboho, don't listen to Baba Kitoye. These are people that hate Nigeria. They are literally using our people against us. How do we fight back to make sure that our people will be on our side? Is it by feeding them? Is it by providing security for them? Many Yoruba parts as well is in danger, even though I say we don't have the kind of money that the politicians have. They have stolen so much and they are now not spending. They are saving money for the next election. Do we need money? some people say, yes, you're going to need money. You know, if you're going to do this kind of movement, you need a lot of money. Some say it is not just money, you need to put the structure in place. A lot of us say we need action. I don't want us to break it down, you know, because sometimes, you know, because we are very, you know, the Yorubas don't like talking the way, you know, maybe the Biafras talk. You know, the Biafras are ready. When they say woto woto, they know what woto woto means. But the Yorubas, when we say action, who are we putting the action on? Is it the Nigerian government? Because remember why there is a lot of woto woto, the autopilot in the Southeast, is because that side is well militarized. And if I'm right, I think we have the Biafrans that are right here listening. They might be able to tell us a little bit of what is happening there. In the southwest of Yoruba today, I don't think we see this military present as it's happening in the southeast. I might be wrong, but I'm sure many of us can confirm that there is not much military present. There is a lot of military presence in the southeast, and this Biafran government in exile disagree with that because these are not military from even in Nigeria. They are now terrorists in uniform. And I'll tell you why before I allow Mazi you know, to come in there. The Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, said, and I quote, after the attack on Adamawa police station, that the Nigerian military are just as the same like Boko Haram. I never said so. You can read it. It is out there. So automatically, we are now saying that the Southeast, where it is being militarized, where there's a lot of military, these are not Nigerian military anymore. These are now Fulani terrorists in uniform to show them pepe. And that is why there is a lot of confrontation there. We don't have that kind of confrontation. So when we say we want action, is it the action in rally? Or what kind of action are we talking about? Action to set up a government in exile, or action to engage our MPs here in UK, probably the same MP that never talked about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu kidnapped from, you know, from Kenya, or as Bashekun said, we sue and try to untangle this amalgamation and we de-amalgamate it. How do we stop all these? Time is not against us anymore. If we have not allowed election to partake in the Southwest, it will have given that reaction. There would have been some kind of, you know, confrontation, the kind of action that we want. But the Yoruba people say, Imilokon, and they went ahead. And then we are back again to where we are. Go ahead, Mazi, and let me hear from you as well. Good evening to those of you that have joined us, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Comrade. Thank you for hosting the place and also having me. Thank you, my Biafra comrades and my ladies in the house. My name is Onye Kashuku, aka Nkodenamba. Koiki, before I go on, I want to remind the listeners, those who are skeptical of what is going on or what we're doing, I want to remind them what former Chief of Army Staff of Nigeria, General T.Y. Danjuma said. I quote, that Biafra from Nigerian military are colluding with the terrorists. They cover them. They facilitate their movements. If you are waiting for them to protect you, you will all die. It may not be verbatim, but many of us have seen the video. What he said is what we have been saying many years. They tell you they are repentant Boko Haram, and they are giving uniform. They are in the east. They are in Ibubago. They are in LBG. You see, those Fulani terrorists that occupy our bushes, reason why our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from ESN was able to dislodge them from our bushes. You know what they did? So they went back and come in military uniform. I am telling you, 99% of those being deployed in our land are terrorists. They will use maybe those who speak one of the Biafra tongue, put them in front, or the Fulanis born in our lands. Let me tell you, I'm speaking with experience. My fellow Yoruba comrades here. I schooled in Ondo State, precisely Odigbo local government. I know Otukukwa, I know Ondo, I know Odigbo, I know Ilaje. I speak Ekale fluently. I know what the Fulanis are committing in Yoruba land. Not everybody who speaks your tongue today are your blood. I want you to be careful of this. There are many, those who bear your name, speak your tongue, they are not your blood. They are being used to deceive you. And if you fall for this trap, you will regret it. You must rise up and take this opportunity. The reason why you see them in the East, they see that their stronghold. And if other indigenous people rise up and take this opportunity, everything is gone. They cannot take everyone. That is why they deploy all their military, all their equipment. Terrorists are killing people in the north, but they cannot go there. They tell them not to kill the terrorists, but they go to East, killing innocent people, killing pregnant women and children. That is why if you're the one person you're hearing my voice and your brother is in the Nigerian military, tell him if they deploy you in the East, resign, because we will not forgive you. You must go down. We have been killed many places. They kill in Head Bridge, they pour them acid to disfigure their faces. They kill in different places. Look at the language they used to use in our land, in checking points. I go shoot you, nothing will happen. And they actually shot many, nothing happened. But now something is happening because they can no longer kill and go scot-free again. We are armed and we're going to fight them to finish. You know, there's a time you push people, you kill people, you get them traumatized. We have been traumatized and we are graduated from trauma. We are now radicalized. We are entering into beast. And that beast not to innocent people, not to innocent people, but against those who have come to kill our people, to kill our women, harvest their organ. Obasanjo formed SARS. Britain were funding SARS. SARS, majority of SARS officers are from North, but SARS mainly operated in Lagos and the East. They kill our people, they harvest their organ. There was a time 7,000 pennies are costing a vessel. Whose pennies are those pennies? Abakere was a police officer, but Abakere have a state in the north. A police officer. He led us for almost 10 years. And people are being missing. They kill, they arrest, they kidnap them, they criminate them, they stalk them, they take over their blood, they kill them and harvest their organ. That is what is going on. In many barracks in the Biafra lands, they are being, where they keep organ of our people, they harvested. They ship them. Let's not forget that the senators, they have signed the organ of Nigerians with the Gay Foundation. We don't make it up, we speak with facts. We have millions of untold truths. So we don't have time to speak propaganda. We speak with facts. That is why we are angry. And if you Fulani and cohort think that they are stubborn, think that they can cut people pieces, we can do that 100 times more than them. Just that we value human life, because our ancestors laid the foundation for us. But they were not cowards. We are going to fight Fulani and their cohorts. In fact, they will regret coming to crossing Biafra land. Because what we have suffered in our land since Nigeria was that contraption, that incompatible union, unsustainable crime against humanity called Nigeria was created in 1914. No heirs on this planet Earth have suffered such in their own land. And we have taken it much. We had this beyond our neck. We can no longer bear it. And any politicians who is supporting this, any indigenous politician, any indigenous person supporting them in this gross crime against humanity, they will suffer it. I want to remind us who is half CBN looter. Go and choose half CBN against his people. The half CBN loot he choose today, his people are being killed en masse in his own land. Learn from the past mistakes to avoid the future one. Don't allow the Miloko, Tinubu, who is there like a ceremonial president, to deceive you. My fellow Yoruba community, the true-blooded Yoruba sons are that I'm talking to you, not infiltrated blood, because I know there are many infiltrated blood in your land that are causing havoc. And if you allow them to deceive you, oh, it will be disastrous.
we know what we're saying. Look at the Hausa people who speak their tongue, who some of them are the Dragon region. Look at how they destroy them. No position is being occupied by Hausa people. Fulani has taken over. Remember before, it's Hausa Fulani. Now is Fulani. Learn from the past mistakes to avoid the future one. Rise up. Now that Biafrans are doing, rise up. Don't sit back. Otherwise, if you sit back, you are creating a horrible future for your children and unborn generation, and that will not be ongoing. I want you to rise up. Koiki Media is doing a great job. I am following you and sharing your message. You may not know me in person, but I have a different account. I used to follow you. But my name is Onyeka Chukwu, aka Nkoda Number. I'm telling you facts. I'm speaking because of what I experienced, not just because I experienced many things. I thank God that great sons and daughters of this generation are rising up, who don't listen to the lies they were told in the past because they want us divided. Just take a look. In the South, 17 states, they have 3 governors forum. They arrogated our people, put them on, but they get you divided. That when you are united, you can't be penetrated. That is why they keep on using religion and the politics to divide our people. And yet, some who think they're educated, they cannot reason. That you have a PhD, nonsense school PhD and just PhD, and they cannot reason is nothing. They think that you can speak grammar. Why can this person who cannot speak grammar building your infrastructure? He cannot reason. Let us reason. What makes us human is ability to reason. I'd rather die on my feet than living on my knees. Justice Merodele. Unquote. Thank you again. I'll be back.
Wow, that was a very powerful one from the brother there. And truth needs to be said, whether we like it or not, the Igbos will never be given opportunity to become the president of Nigeria. Tinubu will do his own tenure and hand over back to the north. And we got to start putting things in place because the countdown doesn't wait for anybody. Yes, as the Biafrans are making their headway, we are also saying now that the Yorubas that are thinking that Tinubu, is the master of the game. He knows the game. This is what they keep telling us. Tinubu knows the game very well, and he will put those games. It will end Nigeria, and everybody will go their separate ways. I have said it, and I say it again. I don't believe it, and I don't agree that Tinubu is going to do that. We would have to do what needs to be done. I'm going to bring our Bishop in before I allow the next 2 requests. Bear with us. Bishop has been trying to get through. You can also call into the program. We can hear your views. There's a lot of comment coming through and this comment. Sister Booker, I'm going to bring you back in just about a few minutes. Let's go straight to Lagos to hear from Bishop. Go ahead, Bishop. You have the first 5 minutes, and I'm going to stop you if I think you are going too far. Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Koiki. Yeah. What I just want to say is just like some other comments saying there's no amount of maybe rally or sort. Try to do rally, come out, let's do rally in that will make us achieve what we want, that will break Nigeria. We are setting the right path that we should follow, and that right path is according to what Professor Banji Akintoye laid down. Ojú ọ̀run tẹ́yẹ fò láì fara kanra. What Nigeria relied on is the military, and that militia angle is where the Biafrans are set. They are ready for them on that angle. But the truth to be told is, in that militia angle, Yoruba is not set. But there are many ways to kill an elephant. All other what make a country is the economy functionality. Are you hearing me, sir?
Loud and clear.
The economic functionality. Now, from outside, now the Yoruba effort and teamwork, I don't want to say it over, but can bring down the economic functionality. That's why you are seeing Nigeria economy crumbling. Nigeria is falling. That's the meaning. The currency is the strength of the value of economy of a nation. The currency is on the free fall. Naira is on the free fall. There are some virtual banks or some country banks now that are not even accepting Naira. Even common PayPal doesn't even accept Naira. That's common PayPal. Now, it shows Nigeria is gone. It's going. Economically, is destroyed. Now, companies are leaving Nigeria. Last month now, this company that they are one of the major companies that during the time of Awolowo that came here. They produce Bonvita. They are the one in production of Mr. Pigs. That is I just forget their name now.
Leventis.
Conglomerate, not Leventis. Something but sorry to say, they've left Nigeria now. They've left Nigeria. A company that has like 6 different companies under them closed up. Do you tell and this company have branches all over Nigeria? They closed up and went to Ghana. And there are 3 others that closed up with them like that. Different companies like that. Now, that is a sign that Nigeria is going down. Because when a country exists and there are businesses operating and paying tax to the government of the country, that's what makes that country a country. Because it's any revenue giving enabling environment for business to thrive with its authority. But when that is going off from the hand of that government, the government is losing its ground. It's no more. So Nigeria is falling. From the economic side, Nigeria is falling. It's gone. You see the president begging companies not to leave. You see the president going outside, wooing investors to come and telling them, we waive this for you. We will help it. It's not because Nigeria is gone. So there are many other aspects to prove Nigeria is gone. But where people always focus on is that militia aspect. That is the final point. So don't struggle your beyond your limit. I'm talking to Yoruba now. But when you talk about our partner in the Biafra, concerning the militia aspect, they prepare for it. They are ready. But when you talk about the Yoruba is not ready for. So don't push. You are not ready for that. Don't push. But there are some aspects you are capable of doing that. There are many ways to bring down an elephant. Be doing that. So, but when everything escalates, we know that Yoruba have capacity to defend its territory. Yoruba has capacity to defend itself. Yes. So that is a point. I just want our Yoruba people to understand and don't run another man's show. So that's
before you go, Bishop. Before you go, I'm going to come to you on the space, Mr. Paul. The politicians, our politicians in the Southwest, how do we also probably, engage them from the point of the first one you've talked about? We are not ready. I mean, everybody can say it, whether we like it or not, as much as we might say the Biafrans are making the push. And the reason why I said at the beginning, and I think my brother confirmed that we don't have that kind of military being, forced on us in the Southwest. So even if we say we want to do woto woto, who are you going to be doing woto woto with? But I think the woto woto that needs to be done now is with the politicians, not through armed struggle. But what are the woto woto that needs to be done with the Yoruba politician so that they can come back to their sense?
Yeah. Yes, that's what I want to say. That's what I want to say. When we are listening to our leaders, our diplomatic leaders telling us to calm down on our kings, to calm down on our politicians, and all that, it's because it's just like a campaign time. They are campaigning to them that you should repent. A day of judgment is coming. So we all listen. Nobody is accusing any politician again, and nobody is talking evil about any king. But we are seeing that they are not interested, and it is vividly and it is clear they are not interested, including the action of one of the first-class king yesterday. They are saying they are not interested. But our attitude is that when that woto now escalate from the east, we should not listen. When we are doing submission that time, I said that when that thing escalates, it is not the time to listen to any our king. The first is to expel all the king, because it just at the time they are not repenting. The second is to hunt all the politicians, because it's time of judgment. And when all these people run away, what will be left is their dogs, all these uniform men that they will give instruction, they give money to go and kiss for them. And when those ones look back, they can't find them. They will try to take military intelligence. When they see that it is beyond their capacity, they will flee also. That's okay. We can now defend our territory by ourselves. Because sovereignty belongs to the people. So the people, that shows that the people, that is the revolution that Showore is now saying. That is the revolution. It's because the people have now risen. And that's justified. Okay. All right. So that is it. That is it. So the woto is to our own people. That's clear. And at that time, it's not the time to listen to anybody that please let us not do our people. Let us not. No. The compromise is what keeps us in slavery today. They have shown they are not interested, and we have given them time enough. That's what we should reply to whoever is telling us to not calm down at that time. All right. Thank you.
Well, I think the submission from Bishop, let me summarize it quickly before I bring in Mr. Paul. And I'm going to bring Jaja in back again. When some of us say we want action, I mean, we not say, and I got to be very clear, because I know that my platform is the most target platform, because they know that whatever comes out of here, I have toned down, on these, we're going to fight. And the reason why I've toned down on it, because I realized, just like Bishop, it seems that the Yoruba people are not ready. We're not going to fight. So what we're going to do is we are just all sitting and waiting. And at that point, when things start heating up on the side in the east, maybe, as Bishop said, the reflection is going to come down. What Bishop is saying is that it doesn't literally mean that the woto that you're seeing in the southeast will be the same woto in the southwest. The woto in the southwest is because we have our traditional leaders that we are talking to as Omoluabi. That ethos of Omoluabi will stop to exist at some point. But the question is, when exactly would that point come true? Let me quickly go to Mr. Paul. Unmute yourself. Let's listen to you. And I'm going to come back after Paul to Sister Buki. She's been listening to some of the submission, and I want her to respond to some of the few things she's picked up. Go ahead, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, my brother Koiki from Oduduwa land. You see, I heard a political statement. My brother has just spoken. You know, he's just presenting a political statement. We say it the way it is. You know, don't forget when Sunday Igboho was still in the zoo. He was giving them woto. That's the reason why they go after him. That's the reason why they kill two people in his home, trying to kill him. That's the woto we are talking about. With the woto, you don't have to prepare for it. You don't have to announce for woto. All you need is for somebody who stood his ground. Because anybody that changes their principle because of who they met, that person is not willing to be a leader. When Sunday was there giving them woto, what do they do? The political stooges you have in your land and my land, Biafra land, Oduduwa land and Biafra land, they come after Sunday and say, hey, there is a way to do things. Those people are stooges, they are not leaders. So please, my brother, don't make political statements. Let's get somebody, or anyhow you can run around with Missy Bo to see what can happen. That's the thing. You saw when he started the woto. A lot of people we are running head basket from your land. That's the reason. That's what we are talking about. They need somebody who can push them. If you don't push them, they keep on pushing you. Ilori is gone. It's your land. But Fulani has taken over Ilori. So let's forget about this political statement. Let's not talk about these stooges known as a political elite. They are not elite. They have been appointed. That's why you see them doing what they are doing. Understand? And as we speak now, Nigeria is a fair state. Don't allow anybody to deceive you or Tinubu knows how to play the game. Okay? selfish labor minister in Nigeria who rigged the first census of Nigeria in favor of the North because he said they look after their friends. Okay? They rigged the same first census of Nigeria because they look after their friends. That's exactly what is going on. That's the same way they rig every election in Nigeria has been rigged. Nobody in power in Nigeria today that has the mandate of the people to lead them. That's why you see the killing going on. That's why when their master from Asura do anything, the governors are handicapped because they are stupid. They can do anything. So these are the facts. You know, we need to stay the way it is. You need to rise up, otherwise they will take over your land. I will leave it here because of time and others talk. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you so much, and we're very pressed with time because I'm gonna be in another meeting, so 10 o'clock UK time, so I have just about 20 minutes to manage the rest of the program. I know there's a hand up. I'm gonna come to you, Mazi, to also put in maybe your last submission. Sister Buki, you've listened to you know the point from different angle. Mine again is, do we engage, like somebody says there on TikTok, should we engage the Yoruba politicians? Maybe that will be the pressure cooker that we got to start telling them that we will not allow or tolerate any more election, because it seems that they are still putting the narrative to our people that election is the good way, even though they know that election is not going to work. You need to go and listen to, Fayemi, the former Ekiti State governor. Every single one of them knows that election cannot solve the problem, but they're trying to slow down the situation room for their own selfish interests. What should we do as we go into 2024, especially with the Yoruba politician? If you're still there, Sister Buki, let me hear from you. And like I say, we just have 20 minutes, but we will try and manage the rest of the minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. It's great to have you here, and I have been listening attentively. Like I said, there are several ways to skin a cat. I am still against anything to do with violence. We can get our sovereignty via peaceful protest, but that protest has to be strategically planned. There's a way in which you can protest from outside, and you can now start to build those bridges, build those supports. There are so many groups that will join us, and we will get the numbers. I think if we can start planning that protest, that strategic protest, that campaign, in our diaspora location, so we work from outside in, I can tell you that these politicians will now be forced to come to a negotiating table, because now we are working on an international platform. That is the only way I can see that this is going to work. And then we can now start to plan for the inside of our Yoruba land, i.e., do we want to start, developing projects like farming, youth projects like training in AI. All these things are things that we should be doing inside our land, just to even start building our land. That is we are asking for this for ourselves, the self-determination. I think we should start doing projects inside Yoruba land. So the protest should be outside, which is the campaign should be outside in our diaspora locations, and then we start, running projects inside Yoruba land. I think this is the way that we should go. By the time we start running those projects inside Yoruba land, there will not be anyone that will want to go and vote for any APC or PDP or any obedient, because they will realize that, okay, since we're now giving the people what they actually want, and we're now asking for that sovereignty, and we are able to deliver that sovereignty via the projects that we will be running, then why would they want to go and vote for people that are lying to them? So we really need to plan this thing well, and I think we can do it within the next least 2 years actually to do this. If we put our minds to it, we you know how we Yoruba people are. If we really put our mind to it, I think that it can be done. With that, I yield the mic.
Wow, another very powerful one there. I go straight to Mazi there. I think that I can see the Jimo. Let me allow Jimo to come through first.
You see,
Okay.
it's good the way you want to do it. And what we are saying is this: we are not saying you should go to what you are not prepared to do. I understand. I really understand. But you must also be preparing the minds of your youths. You have to be preparing their mindsets. Because let me tell you, mind war, when you are defeated mentally, you will be defeated physically. People are playing mind games so much. I want you to understand that your politicians, if you're expecting them to stand for you, you stand till their kingdom come. There has been compromise. Let me tell you, why is it that whenever they want to do election in Nigeria, they will not allow you to vote in the primary? They will only select who them like, allow you to vote general. In those in the US, aren't they voting for the primary? Because they want to choose the criminals, those they will control, those they will do their biddings. Britain, US, those who have their interests, who want you to remain virtually enslaved in their business center called Nigeria, they will choose those they will use. That is why they always choose criminals. No God, I want to tell you, put it to you, no governor in Nigeria, no senator, no president that without criminal records. They are all criminals. And again, they are youth, they are wearing papas. They made them to swear allegiance to the caliphate. So if you're the same thing they have bastardized our traditional stools. They have destroyed our traditional stools. Those Oba, some of them, if you why are they against the database system, which go along with DNA test to check some background checks? Because they know some of those who are representing you are not your blood. Same thing in the East. This is what we're supposed to understand. If you are looking for them to speak for you, you will wait forever. So please, whatever you are doing, if you love your children, if you don't want your wife to be raped in your presence, your daughter to be raped in your presence, your son to be given to sleep and sleep in your presence, or when you come back, you pay tax in your own ancestral land. You have to be doing something. Okay? We Biafrans have paid the biggest price. That is why we rise up. We have decided to die for our children, for them not to suffer what we have suffered in the midst of one abundance. Our people are being frustrated into sundry crime that cannot be traced to our ancestors. That is why we rise up. We can't force you to do what, but any way you can, you must be prepared. Don't think that Fulani is your friend or those who are representing you care about your iota. If you love your children, you have to rise up. That's what I want to add here right now.
Thank you so much. Again, we're very pressed now with time. I'm going to go straight to the GMO and let me hear from you, your submission. I'm going to allow Jaja, and that'll be it. Because, like I said, 10 o'clock, we're going to wind it down. Let's allow you to hear your own views and let's see your points you're coming from.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, from wherever you might be listening from, rather. Concerning the method that we can use to get our self-determination as Yoruba people, I think we have to be strategic about it. We have to look at long-term and short-term plans. Now, nobody knows when it will come to a reality, but then we must be able to know the approach that we want to use at every given point in time. For me, what I feel that we should be doing is explaining to our people how Nigeria is a colony, how Nigeria is still a colony. That is, how the Fulanis have been put in charge as the gatekeepers of the colony. not that they themselves are not being colonized, but in exchange for their control and hold of Nigeria, they have been promised that they will expand and dominate other people, like take the lands of other people, and that is what has been happening in the Middle Belt, and I think it's still happening today. And of course, not just in the Middle Belt, in the Southwest and in the Southeast. So explaining these things to our people will help them to understand that in Nigeria, you can only have ethnic groups that are trying to colonize each other. You understand? Trying to dominate each other. And the only way for us to be free is if we everybody stays independent, go our separate ways. I believe that if we continue to do this, whatever tactic that we might think that is necessary at any point in time will be easier to achieve. If it is violence or self-defense or whatever means that we might need to, that might be needed at any point in time, these things will be easier when our people are educated and they understand what is going on. Like the fallout, the success, how to go about it will be easier when our people understand what is going on. And I also want to make a point that for us nationalists, a lot of us have not been consistent. And the question of consistency also borders on a class analysis. Like some of us don't understand how classes are structured in society. You understand? Because in every society you have classes. You get, and the politicians that we're talking about today, they are just a very small class, and they will continue to betray. Why? Because they are a very small class that has all the resources that are needed. You get, they are the ones.
Please, I promise I just please. I promise I just please.
Sorry, I mean they are the ones who the West use for this colonial project. You understand? And the West is backing them, supporting them, giving them everything. You get? So those people themselves cannot be trusted. You understand? We must understand that we have to take the control. We have to take control of the country, like of the land, if we are going to be truly independent. You get? Now, this does not mean that all the politicians in Nigeria are equal. No, of course, we know that some of them, some like the Fulani, have been given the advantage by the West from independence. You understand? But the ones in the Southwest too are being used. You get? And they are selling out their people because of what they will gain. You understand? Unless we are intransigently against these people, you get, against that system that makes them still remain powerful, that makes them still have all the resources and all the police around them. You get, unless we are against that kind of system, freedom is not going to come. You get, and that is why a lot of us are not consistent, because we still want to maintain the same system as to get a different results. That's why I see that some nationalists today, they will support, for instance, some of us are saying no elections. When election time comes, a lot of people will still say, okay, let's support this person or let's support that person. You understand? It's because that understanding of the class nature of society is not there. That, okay, these politicians are people that will always continue to betray for their own selfish interest. But because we feel that, no, if we don't support our own, another person will come and rule over us. Yes, that's fine, and that's true. The 2023 elections were just the three largest ethnic groups, quote and unquote, trying to dominate each other, trying to gain advantage over the other. That's true. You understand? But at the same time, we cannot really defend ourselves and defend our land if these politicians who are there and who are making all the wealth and gaining everything are still left to remain there. You understand? So, and that is the problem with consistency that a lot of us have. You get that? And some people now are now saying that no, Tinubu, if they want to support Tinubu, they want to preserve Yoruba land and all manner of things like that. The problem with that is these people are just bowing down to the current situation of a Yoruba man being the president, and is not going to change anything. Tinubu can't change anything. In fact, Tinubu himself is a product of Nigeria. So how will a product of Nigeria now say you want to end Nigeria, you want to give you regional system of government? If we were practicing regional system of government, a person like Tinubu will never emerge as anything. You get? So these are the things that we have to understand. Education, consistency, and knowing the correct tactic for the time, and also taking into cognizance the fact that we live in a class society. We cannot continue to run by the rules of that class society and expect a different change. You get? These politicians must be put in their place, like they must be brought down to the level of civil servants, which they are. Again, it's not the all-powerful people that have all the police and all the army around them that will continue to call the shots and betray the people at the end of the day and sell us out to the West or to the Fulani or to any other person who is interested in colonialism. These are the things that will help us to get our self-determination. Thank you.
Wow, that submission was very, very powerful, and I think, I mean, I love the fact that it seems we might think that our people understand why we want to go, and I'm sure some of you have been saying some of what I've told my, my team on the ground to be doing right now. Go out there, start asking those, questions, move them right, and I'm sure you all have been watching some of those videos, especially if you're following us on the all our platforms. I say those videos, I mean, most of our people don't understand what we're fighting for. Some of them are even thinking that they believe that the reason why they went to vote is because they might also want to have their children to vote. Somebody have to vote for their children as well. But I think in the long run, the first thing we need to do is that we need to, and I think, the Biafrans were able to do that for a very long time before they got to where they are right now. That education needs to go into, and when we talk about education, it will definitely have to be in our local language, which is not going to be English. It has to be in our own proper dialect. We're going to have to be able to break it down. And that is why, if you see what we are doing, the radio that we've been talking about, the transistor radio, is currently now being, on the ground, which will also be a very powerful tool. Yes, the rallies, the reason why people are calling for the rally, because Igbo's rally, navy blue shirt, Giacomo, it actually dragged people in to want to know what he wants to talk about. And at least I was on the ground in 2021. I witnessed, the energy, and I knew, and we knew at some point, I mean, inside me, that they're not going to allow this rally to continue like this. And we saw what happened in July 1st when, an assassination attempt to his life occurred. I was just about 24 hours to that house. I had to return back to Nigeria just for that reason. And we knew what was going to happen, which I'm not going to go into all the details, when we get to Lagos. But I think the reason why that rally was stopped was, again, Tinubu knew himself that should the Lagos rally goes ahead, from the intel that they must have got as well, a lot of things will go wrong, and he might probably not get to where he is. Now that Tinubu is there, our people are saying, look, you can't all just sit back. You got to be out there. But even as much as Igbo is outside the country, we can still run the show of the rally like we started. We started the smaller rallies, from state to state, state to state. But are we going to get the same traction now that Igbo is outside the country? let's give, in the last month that the war has been out of the country, we can see that I have come out with at least nothing less than maybe 2 statements, especially the Iweleri that he asked me to come out and give them warning. And I think many of our people wants to hear such kind of messages coming out from CSI and Babakitoye. But we also have to also remember that there will also be some other ways that we can prepare so that by 2023, when we give like that, people will be ready to also kick into it. But the last submission was very good. We need more education. Many of our people do not understand. And I think it is a deliberate act because most of these politicians, like you said, they have the resources that we don't have. And they've been able to use those resources against us. They've been able to tell our people that there is no point accepting, your faith in the self-determination, but you can still work with the contraction called Nigeria. So what we have to do, we cannot end the whole conversation in one night. We know that. This month, I've decided to look back and review. We talked and talked, messages. People are listening, especially those that are leaders behind the scene. And I also take message back to them. But I said something, and I'm going to say before I go, that there's no way we will say we want Yoruba nation if we don't go back on the grassroots to different corners of Yoruba land, whether we like it or not. How we have to do that is when everybody says that is the fact. That is what is going to make this creation of the awareness. The few times that you've heard about Yoruba nation in the last few weeks is when Igboho speaks. That is when you will hear the local radio talk about Igboho. And also, some of them are talking about him, apart from some of us that are outside. I'm not talking about the proper channels, the radio on the grassroots in Nigeria, the media. And as far as we are not doing anything, they're not going to say anything. But when Igboho speaks, they pick on it. How do we manage that as much as why people were listening to Nnamdi Kanu was because prior before he was kidnapped, I remember if Nnamdi Kanu says, I'm coming out to speak at 6 o'clock, the Biafrans are already waiting 2 hours ahead. I'm just looking at it from another angle. Maybe it is time that it's a suggestion that maybe once a week, we should start having, CSI to come and just talk to us. And I'm sure that would drag the kind of crowd, whether they have the internet or not. I'm telling you, they will look for it. That would also be a message that every radio station will pick up as a free advert, because everybody knows that Igboho's name is another marketing tool. Maybe we should look into that. Maybe it's a kind of a suggestion. I don't know whether that is workable, whether that is going to be good. But Nnamdi Kanu was the first traction, and Igboho doesn't have to leave his comfort zone where that will be happening. It could just be a 1 hour just to talk to us, educate us, and we will see. But I think we need another powerful voice like him to kick the message going in the new year. And I'm sure many of us will agree with that, at least before the rally starts. Because like I said, each time, Igboho doesn't speak frequently. I've spoken to him today, but each time he speaks from July that we saw, and apart from when he sends us to come and speak on his behalf as a spokesman, you will see that people wants to get the message out of us. And I think maybe from the new year, we can work something where he will speak to the Yorubas, from outside his base. But let us allow him to settle down. There's a lot going on at the moment. He's lost two, beautiful, women that are close to him, but he accepted that is part of the movement. And I remember every time I speak to him, which is a privilege, he says, that is just the destiny, the fight continue, which, I'm sure many of you want to hear it directly from him. Maybe that would be good. It's just exactly 2 minutes past. I wish I can go further. Like I said, I'm meant to be in another meeting, which I'll be heading to right now. But we'll be back again tomorrow, God's willing. Thanks so much to each and every one of us. Those of us that are still in that, loop that Nigeria is working, or it's going to work, you are being deceived by the same corrupt politicians that knew that Nigeria is dead, but the West are using them to give us lies. They use Peter to deceive part of those that are supporting Biafra. They've now used Tinubu to deceive us as well, because they know very well that some of us, not every one of us, we love Tinubu, and regardless of anything, they know Tinubu is going to be is not like the beacon of the Yorubas, even though those are knows him very well. Tinubu ran out of Nigeria in the 90s. We know he was living here in Milton Keynes until he returned back in 1999. And like I said, some of us that have been able to hear some part of what and what Tinubu is, I had the privilege before Oba Laughing died with Igboho. It's not for public consumption. I know what he said about Tinubu, and like I always say, Tinubu respect Igboho, and Igboho just give him his respect, but they know what we can do. But I think as we move into 2024, we got to show to Tinubu that we are not joking, and we want Yoruba nation. That is going to be the message in 2024. Tinubu must know that the Yorubas are serious. And those of you that call yourself conservative, whatever Yoruba, we know you, we see you on the social media. You've attacked us. You've called us the Libra, especially those of us that work in line with the Biafrans and the Igbos and whatever. Let me say this clearly to you. Some of you are not bold enough. Anyway, we know that. You're just, talking. But as we go into the new year, I know you are being pushed by the politicians. We know that, because some of you are working with the politicians, and you've said it clearly that you don't care, especially Tinubu is there. In the new year, we will do what needs to be done, and we will continue. But let me say this clearly: I am Olayomi Koiki. I still stand with the Biafrans, because I know that is the only way we could pull down this British last empire. You don't have to agree with me, like I always say. This is my own personal view now. The Biafrans have proved that they are ready. Why are we not trying to work and say we are ready as well? So all these conservative Yorubas, just take your time. Take your time, I'll say it that way. We know you, and we can feel you from what you're saying. We saw all the shenanigans that took place, especially as the election was coming. A lot of you will regret. If we have our own different nations, like I always say, if the Biafrans try to take that nation or the land back from us, we will fight them to the last man standing. But for now, the two majors are saying that we want to exit, and some Yorubas are still trying to pull us back. I don't think it is fair. Since you don't like them in the first place, why not all work and say we pull down this contraction called Nigeria? Thank you so much, everyone, especially to my beautiful mother, my wife, my children, and the most important to Baba Akintoye. We will stand with him until the final part of Nigeria will break to pieces. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a very good night. Bye for now.